I want to reemphasize again that the figure that we talk about, 80 billion, this is assuming we had the ideal situation. We would have to have 80 billion on the table. Okay, so we have costed that this cooperation framework for these specific areas, to have it implemented, then it would get to 80 billion. If we break down and ask ourselves, so what does Nairobi County get out of the revenue share? All county governments get about 400 billion Kenya shillings over the period. If you go backwards and then you ask yourself, then it is clear Nairobi County would not be able to raise this sum of money. So we need to find a different way of supporting them. And it's on this basis that we say that Nairobi being the capital city, it is the image of the entire nation, and that is why it's captured under the Urban Areas and Cities Act as the capital city, and it will call sometimes for special interventions. So the principle behind this framework is exactly that special status of Nairobi. The first white paper deals with water and sanitation, and that is on page 10 of the response, which again summarizes the key aspect of the water challenge in Nairobi. The white paper number 2 deals with the safe streets focusing on upgrading of roads, bridges, and installation of up to 50,000 street lights within the city. Then we have the white paper number 3, which deals with markets and urban economy. This is how to support the infrastructure for both the formal and also the other operators or players in Nairobi City. Then we have the white paper number 4, which focuses on the legal architecture anchoring the cooperation agreement. And then white paper number 5, which is environment and green development. And this talks to the issues of the Nairobi Rivers regeneration, the waste to energy opportunity, the built environment, which includes affordable housing, and positioning of Nairobi as a city that can benefit from green finance. Then we have the white paper number 6, which talks of flood resilience. Mr. Chairman, we are all living in a very different time, and we are seeing more frequent and devastating flooding of Nairobi City. The Nairobi Railway City is being planned. Cooperation between the county government, cooperation between the Ministry of Roads and Transport, cooperation with the railway, and support from the UKEF. This is the British government support to invest in modernizing the railway city and also the commuter lines, so that the ease of transport logistics can be achieved and we can ferry more people in and out of the city, all the way to Thika, to Riruta. The connectivity will come to the airport and even to the SGR, so that it becomes an integrated transport hub. All this to help in easing the challenges that Nairobi is facing. And, Your Honorable Chair, this cannot be achieved by the county government alone. We need collaboration, we need partnership. It calls for investments. Tokyo, as an example, generates about 40% of its power from solid waste. Tokyo, in Japan, where they have several plants from solid waste, and it powers their city. And the byproducts are then used to create paving slabs, cabro, and everything from the process of that solid waste. And then you can also have fertilizer or manure developed from this. We are not utilizing the full value, and we need to realize that is the garbage waste, or can the garbage be turned into a gold mine? This is a question that we can answer, and that's why we need to invest together with the Nairobi City. Because over the years, and this is a very personal observation, it may be right, it may be wrong, we have committed so much energy to the extent that we are not realizing, for instance, that Dar es Salaam Airport has become better than Nairobi Airport. That Entebbe Airport, after their extension, is actually better than Nairobi Airport. Rwanda Airport is better. If you go to Zimbabwe today, and Zimbabwe is facing sanctions from the Commonwealth, you land in Harare Airport today. It is now superior to Nairobi. You go to Angola, Luanda, their new airport is now superior to Nairobi Airport. I could go on and on. Go to Zambia, there's a change. Today, go and land in Zanzibar and look at the airport. So we have been living in past glory and not realizing that we need to invest in our capital city. Therefore, we need to have a clear and a strategy that can help us start correcting the situation. And therefore, when we talk about street lighting, Nairobi and others, they're already doing part of it, but they need help. We highlight the legal context in which this is framed. And under the Urban Areas and Cities Act, particularly Section 6.5, subsection 5, we bring out the very critical aspect that Nairobi City is the capital city of the country. And within that framework, it requires very well thought out, concerted interventions between the national government and the county government in itself. And then white paper number 7 deals with urban security. And this is the establishment of the Nairobi Metropolitan Service Framework. The Nairobi Metropolitan Police Service proposal establishes a dedicated ward-structured community embedded Metropolitan Police formation within the Nairobi Police Service, National Police Service. Now, you will interrogate this further, but clearly what we are pointing out is that we can have a dedicated police service without having to amend the Act of the National Police Service. Different formations have been made before. Even within the National Police Service today, you can have the anti-stalk unit, and you do not need a new act because the law has already provided for an opportunity for different formations to be there. So we can have the Nairobi Metropolitan, and this, when we talk of Nairobi Metropolitan, we can all see that Nairobi, Machakos, Kiambu, sections of Kajiado, they are basically a metropolis. So this would help in giving more focus to improve on the security within this large metropolis. Inside the agreement, there's also the strategic objective and purpose, which is captured under Clause 2 of the agreement. And that is to establish a framework for cooperation between the national government and the Nairobi City County government to enhance coordinated planning, financing, implementation, etc. So the whole issue is there. But the most, the important aspect is the aspect of the capital city. That is the anchor to this cooperation agreement. Because under the Intergovernmental Relations Act, county governments and the national government are already cooperating. Even within the framework of revenue sharing, we are already cooperating. So it is not an alien concept, as it were. Now, the difference in this is that this is a cooperation agreement and it is not a transfer of functions. The NMS was a transfer of functions. This one is not a transfer of functions. It is purely around coordination. There are specific targets where we have a steering committee, which I chair and deputized by the governor of the city of Nairobi County, that is Governor Sakaja. Then we have the implementation committee, which is chaired by the governor himself. So that is the one that will deal with the day-to-day follow-up and implementation of this agreement. Why do we make it a 24-month arrangement? Because it's about cooperation. And we give it that so that we can also review whether the framework will be yielding results or not. If it is not yielding results, then we rethink the approach. If it is yielding results, since it's an initial 24 months, the parties, that is the national government and the county government, will have the option to decide whether they want to have an extension or not to extend it. But I would not want to have a situation where we have a permanent contract, because it would then start looking like we are clawing back on devolution, and that should not be the situation. The issue of water supply, perennial water shortages still occur. We draw water from the dams that we have been building, but we need to increase this 50,000 cubic meters. And in the concept paper, it indicates it will not be the final solution. We are covering over a period. But when that is on, we'll also be planning for the next phase of water investment. The sanitation, Honorable Chair, the sewer capacity in Nairobi City has been inadequate. We will never clean up the Nairobi River, the Ngong River, unless we increase the capacity in the sea. We have no intention whatsoever to undermine the principles of devolution. Mr. Chair, I would like, maybe you, I'm sure maybe you know, maybe you don't, but for purposes of being on record, I am the one who submitted the sessional paper on devolution to Parliament. I was the one who led the first 6 pieces of legislation to anchor devolution and to trigger off devolution. I did when I was Minister for Local Government, to make sure that we beat the election and have devolution as part of the electoral process. So in my blood, devolution flows in the veins. So I would be the last person to undermine devolution.